Hi everyone, and welcome back to Melody Crochet Nook. My name is Beth, and today we are talking about knitting and the challenges that I have found as I begin the process of learning how to knit. Man. So, disclaimer, these are just my opinions and my first impressions of trying to get into knitting. And if you have any suggestions on how I can find better help with it, please let me know, because I would love to learn. And I'm just coming across a lot of different challenges, as I'm not sure if all people feel this way or if it's just a crocheter leading into knitting, or if no one is finding these issues, which I would be surprised. But anyway, I guess let's just get into it. So to start with, I have fastened off two different things. So I would consider them finished projects. I think one is up here, and it was my first ever knitted thing that I made. And it's just a little square. It's like my little benchmark of a knitting project. Let me grab it. Okay, and I can see so many issues with it, and that's good, because I know that I am learning, and like I said, this is just a benchmark. So I started down here, and then I finished up here. My cast off is horrid, and I can see a lot of different issues with my stitches. And down here, I have a lot of issues with my stitches as well. And I have had a lot of things that I have cast on, worked halfway through, and pulled out. I had to frog it because it wasn't working for one reason or another. And as I am searching on YouTube for help, I can't find very many tutorials. The best tutorials I have found are ironically from crocheters who I guess they understand the need for a good tutorial on how to do certain things in knitting. And every time I look up on YouTube some sort of video on how to do something, you always have to purchase the pattern in order to follow along correctly. Not always, because I have found a couple of different things that they provide a PDF that you can download and follow along with, and that is free, and that's amazing. But it's rare. I've found like one or two, whereas with crochet, anything you want to find, anything you want to learn how to do, you can find a YouTube video on it. It might not be the exact thing that you want, but you can definitely teach yourself how to crochet from YouTube. From knitting, I find it a lot more challenging. Maybe I'm not entering the right keywords or whatever to find these videos. I'm not sure, but the majority of the time when I do find them, they are always a tutorial on a pattern that you have to purchase in order to do it correctly. And the main thing I am wanting to learn how to do currently is a tank top, because it's summer and I have perfect yarn for a striped tank top, or even just a regular solid color tank top, and I would love to learn how to do that, but it just all seems very overwhelming to me. And I think it probably has a lot to do with the fact that I'm coming from crochet perspective instead of a knitting perspective, because I've been crocheting for 20 years. So being able to translate that information of crocheting over to knitting, they're not the same language. They're two completely different languages, and I just have to get used to it. And I understand that there's going to be a huge learning curve, but it's been so much of an issue that I can't really move on. And there has been a couple of breakthrough points, and it's very well could be the way my brain works. Not everybody's brain works the same way. And so I'm finally starting to understand some things a little bit better and figure, okay, well, maybe I can do this. One of them, and I'll insert a picture, but it's a sweater that I started to knit with this, and I was trying to do top down, and I finally started understanding it. I will insert the link to what I was using, or a picture, something, the name. I have no idea who it is right now, but it was a YouTube video. You could download the PDF for it. It is, okay, so it's the Fall Fluff sweater by Ashley Lilies, and it's a knitting pattern. And the only issue there were a couple of issues I was having with it, which is why I frogged it. But the first one was, as I was getting it to be larger, I don't have long enough needles to continue. So I wasn't able to keep going on it, which is an issue. So I had to frog it for that. But I was also coming across issues with the increases, because it's a raglan sweater, top down, all one piece, but I was having issues with where to put the increases, and then it was like a knit left, knit right increase. Terminology is new to me, so I kept swapping them back and forth, and so that was confusing. But that was the best tutorial that I have found so far for a sweater, but I again didn't have the correct needle length for the circular needles. I needed to change it over to a longer circular needle set, so I ended up having to frog it. So I think I'm going to try it again, but instead I'm going to knit panels and try to figure out how I can do that. And it is stocking knit, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it in the round, just so I could do the stocking knit stitch in the round, which is a lot easier. So anyway, I did end up needing to frog it, and I'm going to do the stocking knit stitch again, but this time back and forth, so it will be knit, purl, knit, purl. So I think I'm just going to make up my own pattern for that. And I still need to learn how to increase and decrease and all of that fun stuff. And then I have heard from a couple of you, and I thank you for giving me different ideas of how I can start knitting and learning the stitches and stuff, and it's by doing washcloths. And I know I have a whole bunch of cotton yarn to use up, and I think that's a great way to learn how to do all of the different stitches. So I'll probably end up doing that. At the beginning of the year, I had discussed and talked about doing a sampler blanket. That's just not going to happen this year, mostly because the yarn that I had started to use was Big Twist Living, and I didn't buy enough for that, which isn't that big of a deal. I have plenty of other yarn that I could use for it, but as of right now, I think I'm going to switch gears, and instead of doing the knit blanket, the sampler blanket, with all the different stitches, I'm just going to do washcloths or something else like that. But I know that a Sophie scarf or something similar to a Sophie scarf would be a good starting point as well, as far as learning how to do the increases, the I-cord, the decreases, all of that. I think it would be helpful, but I don't know. It's crochet and knitting is so different from one another, and people always confuse the two. It's really funny. Well, funny to a knitter or a crocheter, but this next one is where I think I'm going to just need to say again, this is my own opinion, my own experience. The knitting and the crochet communities are very different. And the types of yarn that each group gravitates to, for the most part, is completely different. And I'm not sure why. I have noticed that in the knitting community, most of the time, acrylic is very frowned upon. And I have many, many thoughts on the yarn types and stuff. Honestly, I use acrylic because a lot of reasons, but one is there's so many different feels to the acrylic, and not only acrylic. When I say acrylic, I mostly mean like value yarn. So acrylic, polyester, what are some of the others? Anyway, I understand it's not necessarily environmentally good, but it's out there. It's what is affordable to the majority of people, and I like it. A lot of it feels really nice. This is, I believe this is 100% acrylic, and it is. It's 100% acrylic, and it is so soft and squishy. This is the Big Twist Menagerie, and it is quickly becoming one of my favorite yarns. And then this is, I believe, 100% acrylic. Let me find it. Yep, 100% acrylic. This is Yarn Bee Chromatic Spectrum, and it's really pretty. There's lots of different things you can make with it. And then there's this, 100% polyester. This is the Big Twist Hush, and it's very soft and comfortable. And yes, I do understand that different yarns are good for different things. Like cotton, it's great to soak up moisture, or wick it up. Is that what they say? It absorbs moisture, and so it's a lot better for the summer and for garments in the summer. And then wool is really nice for the winter because it traps in heat, but it's also breathable. But acrylic, it traps in heat and it's not very breathable, but it holds up nicer. And as a budget-friendly person, I personally feel that whatever yarn you're comfortable with, whatever yarn you want to use and can afford, use it if it feels nice. There's so many different yarns out there that are very soft. There's some acrylics that are very scratchy and are horrible. And you just have to pick and choose what you make with that, or buy a different acrylic. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of polyester chenille yarn back here as well, and that's for plushies. But there's just I'm not the type of person to be very judgmental. If people want to use more expensive yarn, that's great, use it. But a lot of times I feel like the knitting, not all of them, but the knitting community looks down on these more budget friendly yarns. Like, people who use them are not taking care of the earth, or like sustainability, or I don't know. I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, other than it's very different, very drastically different between the two. I find that most of the time knitters will usually only use acrylic, and crocheters use a bit of both. A lot of crocheters use more acrylic, and I don't know if that's because just accessibility, affordability, and when you crochet you use a little bit more yarn than when you knit. I don't know, but if it's cheaper, it holds up better, and it feels about the same. I have no issue with it. So let's see. Anyway, I think that about covers my my comparison between the knitting and crochet community and my thoughts on the knitting process. I have been trying different things. Like, I've been trying to use this cotton yarn. It's K&C Essential Cotton that I picked up at Joann at their closing. And these knitting needles, which I also picked up at Joann. This is the Big Twist interchangeable set, and I wish I decided to pick some up before they only had 3 sizes, and I got all 3 sizes. So that's good, but I don't think I'll be able to get more. These, what are they? The connecting pieces, they might connect with a different one. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it. But I was gifted a bunch of knitting needles as well from my aunt. So I'm still trying to figure out what I like the best and what sizes are good for what and all of that, because the cords are so different. When you're knitting in the round, you need a specific size cord, or the project won't necessarily turn out correctly. So anyway, I am still learning. I have a lot to learn. And for now, I think the best thing for me to do is work with the thicker yarn, get the stitches down, which is why I was trying to do that sweater. Again, I started the sweater twice. I did the raglan top down version of it starting with this, but I got to the point where the cord wasn't long enough and I wasn't going to have enough room to finish the rest of the sweater. And then with this I started panels, and I don't remember why I ended up frogging it. I think I just wanted to try to do it in the round. which I still would love to try to crochet or knit to knit a sweater in the round. But I'm not there yet because I don't have the right knitting needles, and I'm still trying to figure out if knitting is something I want to continue doing, because as of now it is a frustrating thing for me, but at the same time I think it's a good skill set to have, and I like how knitting looks too, so I want to keep going. I just need to give myself more grace and more forgiveness and be more patient with myself and reach out to you guys for help. So if you have anything that, any tips or tricks or some of your favorite tutorial videos or resources that would be helpful, send them my way. I would love to see them, look over them, and all that. Oh, one more thing. I have discovered Ravelry. I know I'm saying that wrong because I always say things wrong, but that is also a learning curve. So trying to figure out how to use that, I've learned a lot, but I know that there's a lot of different functions on there that I haven't been utilizing. But it's been fun to search for new patterns and put in the patterns that I'm working on and favorite things as well. It's like a Pinterest type of a board, but it's a project keeper, and all sorts of things. So anyway, that is it. That is my rant. That is my thoughts. I probably have more that I did not share because I forgot, and I have so many thoughts on knitting, and I don't want to sound super judgmental. I don't want to sound anything other than these are my thoughts. Again, all my own personal thoughts as a crocheter trying to learn how to knit, and the differences that I've been noticing within the two different, not clubs, but you know what I mean, communities. So crochet community versus the knitting community. So anyway, that is it. I'm going to be done here. So thank you for listening, and if you're still here, give me a thumbs up and do a pink heart in the comments. I really appreciate you being here and listening to all of my confusing thoughts, because I know they're confusing to me, and how can I portray something or communicate something to you that isn't confusing if it's confusing to me. So thank you. I appreciate you, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments. So I'll talk to you later. See ya.